It's a roaring fight back from the bulls after yesterday's trading session. You're watching Midcap Radar live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I am Hormus Patakia. With me is Vamakshi Dhuria. Vamakshi, good afternoon. It's a very, very good day for the bulls.
Well, absolutely, Hormas. Yesterday the markets were not in such a great shape, but today the markets seem to be in the pink of their health, just like your shirt and my jacket. But there's a lot lined up today, so let's get started with some of the top headlines. Markets build on gains to trade near the day's high. Sensex, Nifty gained over 2% each. Mid-cap index is up over 1,000 points. All sectoral indices are up between 1.5% to 3%.
Suven Pharma and Piramal Pharma are both higher in trade after Goldman Sachs has initiated coverage on them. The brokerage expects a strong rebound and structural growth for both of these companies and for Piramal Pharma to deliver a top quartile profit growth.
MCX is also in focus after it sees a significant surge in daily options premium in the last 3 days. Volatility in commodity prices leads to higher trading activity on MCX.
Oil marketing companies have rebounded from the day's low after a sharp drop, and that is after the excise duty hikes as well. Brokerages have also revised their estimates on these stocks.
Realty stocks Godrej Properties and Sobha climb on the back of good Q4 business updates. Godrej Properties quarterly bookings crossed 10,000 crore rupees for the first time, while Sobha sees highest number of new launches in the fourth quarter. Brigade Enterprises also trades higher after the company signs a joint development agreement for a premium residential development project in Mysore.
Well, we are almost on the verge of recovering everything that we lost in yesterday's trading session. We were down almost 600 points. We are up almost 500 in today's trade. Already 1,600 points higher on the Sensex. The broader market is doing equally well for themselves in today's trade. At the highest point of the day is the Nifty, 2.5% higher on the benchmark index. The mid-cap index too trading with gains of a similar quantum, 1,150 points higher there. Another 2.5% gain on the small-cap index as well. So it's uniformity seen across the benchmark indices and the broader markets in terms of quantum of the gains. And if you pull up the advance decline as well, firmly in favor of the advances, as has been the case for the last few trading sessions, barring the volatility that we saw on Friday and on yesterday's a very, very yawning gap and in favor of the advances. But which are those names that are contributing to these gains? Vivek is joining in to take us through just that. Vivek, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon. Spoiled for choice today, especially if you're a bull, given the fact that you just showed the chart of the advance decline ratio over 2,200 stocks on the NSE firmly in the green. But let's have a look at some of the gainers, especially from the broader end of the markets. You alluded to them a little earlier, the OMCs. Have a look at all of them. HPCL, most levered as far as marketing margins are concerned, almost 5% higher. BPCL, IOCL topping off the list with strong gains as well. The entire capital marketplace, again, something that you alluded to, very high, very volatile trading sessions last few trading days have seen, and on the back of that, higher premium turnover is what BSE as well as MCX are enjoying. Angel One too has rebounded quite sharply from the recent lows. Pharma stocks, well, it was a very bad week, last week, and also last couple of trading sessions extremely weak. But today, quite a few of the generic players are bouncing back in style. Biocon almost 6% higher today. Ipca Labs 4%, Divi's as well as Alchem rounding off that particular list of gainers. Well, a couple of stocks moving on the back of either news flow or brokerage upgrades coming in. Info Edge, very strong standalone billings data coming in for Naukri. That stock higher by 5%. Goldman Sachs today turning positive on the CDMO space. So Suven Pharma as well as Piramal doing very well in the session. And very few laggards in the session today, but a few names. Delivery almost giving up entirely the gains it saw in yesterday's trading session. Street, going ahead and analyzing the acquisition, not liking it so much today. Astral as well as Welspun Corp, some of the other laggards in the trade today.
Vivek, thank you so much for that list. Very few laggards indeed. But on that note, let's welcome in our technical guest, Shrikant Chauhan from Kotak Securities for a check on the market. Good afternoon, Shrikant. This is Vamakshi joining in. Shrikant, today to begin with, was a gap up opening. The market has continued to build on to the momentum. So what are the charts telling you? Is this sustainable going forward?
Good afternoon, Vamakshi and Hormas. Nifty is, yes, definitely is doing much better than the expectations. It is holding above the levels of 22,500, which clearly indicates that the fear is, we can say, fading out. But at the same time, close to 22,700, 800, the market is having good amount of resistance. But while looking at the daily pattern and the way that today market opened up with a gap and it is maintaining to that gap up opening, I am of the view that the markets are heading towards the levels of 22,800 in the near term. So in the short term, I'm going to say next 1 or 2 days of time, we could see the levels of 22,800. That's the view. So in case if we see the market is closing below the levels of 22,500, yes, then in that case, we can say that the markets can again come back to the levels of 22,200.
Shrikant, good afternoon. What are the specific stocks that you're recommending? Are you recommending a buy trade, or are you recommending using these bounces to exit some of the bad positions?
See, like the way there was like fall in last few days, the prudent strategy is to look for reducing weak long positions close to important resistance level, like even at 22,700 and 800. But if there is a positional view or if there is a medium term view, then we should look for adding those stocks which are like, we can say defensives, or if we even consider the overall trend of the market, then we need to be on the risk off side. So while looking at the entire the overall performance of the indices, I'm of the view that we should be more on the defensives on the consumer stable side, and in that we like Tata Consumer, which is around some close to 1140, 1150 sort of levels, and there if we see the trend, then it is forming reversal formation. I'm going to say it is forming some cup with handle sort of formation. It is around 1050, 1070 levels. It's not at 1150, but about 1100, we are expecting stock to move towards the levels of 1200 or maybe 1250. So at this level, it's a classic buy with a view of next at least 2 to 3 weeks. We also like Aadhar Housing Finance, and it is trading very close to its polarity levels. So it is finding resistance close to 465, 455 levels. But on the dismissal of 465, I'm expecting stock to move towards 490 or maybe 500. So Aadhar Housing Finance also looks good at current levels.
Well, thank you so much for that, Shrikant. Keeping an eye out on Tata Consumer as well as Aadhar Housing Finance. Let's slip into a very short break now. The management of Cyient now joins us to discuss their latest foray into semiconductor business. So don't go anywhere. Well, 22,560, that's where the Nifty is at. The mid-cap index, though, is looking like it's cooled off slightly from the day's highest point. As of now, 49 to 826 is where the Nifty mid-cap index is at. A lot of these EMS companies actually buzzing in trade. Look at PG Electroplast. That stock is surging higher in trade. So is Keynes, up nearly 6%. Also, keep an eye out on Amber Enterprises. This stock is also trading higher. The IT index, as of now, is trading with gains of nearly 3%. So lots of IT names in focus. And one other such name is Cyient. The management is joining us. The company has created a dedicated subsidiary for its semiconductor business, which currently contributes nearly 4 to 4.5% to its overall revenues. To discuss the rationale and the way forward, we are now being joined by Krishna Bodhanpu, Executive Vice Chairman and Managing Director of the company. Well, good afternoon. This is Vamakshi. I just wanted to understand from you, what is exactly this ASIC turnkey business for the benefit of our viewers, and what is the kind of opportunity that you see out here, and what is the kind of total addressable market here?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. The intent behind creating this semiconductor subsidiary is, as you can imagine, as more and more things have electronics and intelligence built into them. And when I say more and more things, it's anything from what you look at on a daily basis from a household appliance like coffee machines or air conditioning, HVAC systems, etc., to, of course, the more complicated things like automobiles, aerospace, and ultimately to data centers, computing equipment. The use of chips and silicon is increasing dramatically in most of the industries that we work in, and most of the equipment that we use on a daily basis. So as the use of chips is increasing, our intent is to create this capability, which will help our clients design these chips, which will help our clients manufacture these chips and ultimately deploy these chips. So the intent behind this semiconductor subsidiary is to enable our clients to more effectively design, manufacture, and get hold of these chips or these semiconductors. Like I said, the use of semiconductors is going up dramatically in all applications. All applications day to day or that we use, and that means that this industry, which is about a $600 billion industry, is expected to go to about a $2 trillion industry in the next 10 years or so. That's the opportunity space that we're addressing. We believe that a significant portion is what is called analog to digital on high nodes. These are the chips that we use in many of the day-to-day applications. And those are the chips that Science Semiconductor will target.
Mr. Bodanapu, good afternoon. Thank you for joining in. Why is this that you have opted to create a separate entity? Is there an intention to bring in more partners as you go ahead? Because, of course, this is a very capital-intensive business, right? So, do you intend to bring in more partners ahead? Is there a plan to list this out in the near future as you have done with Scient DLM? What is the ideal size you would be looking for if you embark on such a plan?
No, absolutely. And I think the intent behind carving it out as a separate entity is very similar to what happened with DLM. The economics of this business are very different to the economics of a technology services business that is Scient. The capital intensity is different. The cyclicality is different. The investment cycles are different. So to make sure that we invest for this opportunity, again, it's a huge opportunity and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And therefore, to enable us to invest to address this opportunity without sort of damaging the economics of Scient Limited or what our shareholders expect, that's the reason why we created this separate subsidiary. It's also semiconductors is a very ecosystem-driven industry. We will have to have various partners for various parts of the ecosystem, which we will work with and bring in. I think it's a bit early to speculate on listing because right now it contributes to about 5% of Science revenue, which means it's about a $35 to $40 million business. Of course, it has to be much larger before we consider anything like that. But one more thing I'll add is the Scient board has committed to investing up to $100 million, and they've also authorized us to look at external capital. So we're, at least for the time being, we believe that we have the right access to capital and will grow this business for the opportunity it presents before we look at any external listing per se.
Well, that's a huge opportunity, right? But let's talk financials. In the first 9 months of this financial year, the semiconductor business revenue stood at 225 million rupees. Now, can you help us understand what is the kind of growth rate that you've seen so far historically in this business, and what is the kind of growth rate that you're envisaging going forward?
Historically, this business is a bit of a cyclical business, but taking that into account, it is a fairly good growth business. I think we would have grown about 10% year on year if you look at the last 5 years or so. But the intent going forward, like I said, is the addressable space is increasing dramatically, both because of the usage of semiconductor in various industries, but also geopolitics with the intent to diverse a little bit out of some of the current sources of semiconductors, India becoming a more and more important market. So therefore, the opportunity set, we believe, is significantly higher. And obviously, we're doing all this because we do see an opportunity to significantly accelerate from that 10% growth rate. That will require a different set of economics, capital, etc., which is the intent behind what we're doing here.
What has the revenue growth been for Mr. Bodanapu historically for the first 9 months? And for the overall semiconductor business as well, it's around 4 to 4.5% of your revenue currently. Do you see that number going to double digits, say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yes, absolutely. That's the opportunity that we're seeing. And that's the reason why, because to address that opportunity, though, we'll have to look at the economics a little bit differently because these are customized chips, which means we will have to invest upfront we will have to take in a little bit more of capex from an R&D perspective, and also from the materials, etc., that go into the R&D. So that's why we're spinning this off separately, because we see that proportion changing. But also it will require investments and it will require capital, and that's why we're doing this as a separate entity.
So you expect to accelerate from the 10% revenue growth, but I mean, what are the kind of margins that you enjoy in this business? Where are they at currently, and where do you see them heading going forward?
So the margins are not very different from rest of the services business today, because we run it more as a services business, not as a turnkey ASIC business. As margins accelerate, historically, semiconductor businesses also enjoy a better margin profile. So we also expect margin to get better along with the growth rate, just because of the nature of the semiconductor business. Now, of course, I do want to caution that it is because it's also a different business which requires a different investment profile. We have to do a lot of those things right. But the opportunity set to both accelerate growth and margins is much better. And that's one of the key reasons why we're going down this path.
All right, Mr. Bodanapu, thank you so much for sparing time and joining us today. Wish you good luck for the rest of this year as well. The management there of Cyient saying that they're committed to investing around $100 million and authorized, and look at external capital as well. The stock, though, slightly off the highs of the day, 3.5% higher still. At 1160 is Cyient. Take a short break. More on the markets and specific stocks on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Then Yash is joining in with the latest that he's picking up on the Bajaj Group and the Allianz deal. Yash, tell us more.
Well, one of the largest deals as far as the insurance sector itself is concerned, with a total value of about nearly 24,000 crore rupees, where the Bajaj Group, particularly Bajaj Finserv, and other Bajaj Group companies intend to buy Allianz's 26% stake in the life and the general insurance JV. What we've been able to pick up from our sources is that the deal terms and the deal structure between the two companies, that is Bajaj Finserv, the other promoter companies, as well as Allianz, is likely to have been fixed as far as the deal structure going forward is concerned. What we've been given to understand is that a total of 26% stake belonging to Allianz is to be bought, and the first tranche of this transaction will involve the two listed companies, that is Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Holdings and Investments, picking up a 6.1% stake from Allianz in both the life insurance as well as the general insurance JV. Of course, there is a lot of significance with this number, which is 6.1% stake, because as soon as that 6.1% stake is picked up by Bajaj Finserv and the other Bajaj Group company, that is Bajaj Holdings and Investments, the joint venture will get terminated, and Allianz will be free out of that non-compete clause, which means Allianz can pursue its independent insurance ambitions in India, whether through a partnership or by itself. It can go ahead and do that as soon as that 6.1% stake is picked up. How much do which entities pick up as per the proposed structure? This has been made public. Bajaj Finserv picking up about 1.01% stake of Allianz's 26% stake. Jamnalal Sons to acquire about 5.04% stake, and Bajaj Holdings and Investments to acquire 19.95% stake. But importantly, the first tranche would be about 6.1%, and Bajaj Finserv as well as Bajaj Holdings to pick up that 6.1% stake jointly. As far as the regulatory approvals are concerned, also what we've been given to understand is that the company is expected to file, for regulatory approvals with IRDAI, SEBI, as well as the Competition Commission of India by the second quarter of FY26.
Well, thank you so much for that, Yash. Bajaj Finserv as of now is trading with gains of around 2%. But moving on, let's put the spotlight now on MCX. That counter is buzzing in trade as daily options premium in the last 3 days have surged significantly. Keep in mind that a large portion of this surge is coming because of higher trading activity, given the kind of volatility that we're seeing in the commodity prices. From 24th of March to 2nd of April, the average daily premium was at 2,400 crores. The average daily option premium in the last 3 days itself, which is when the tariff tantrum started from the US, is at 6,850 crores, which is a massive uptick of almost 3 times the previous 8 sessions. The month of April for now is off to a very great start. The average daily option premium in the month itself so far stands at 5,150 crores. Keep in mind that MCX has disclosed data only up till September 2024. So therefore, when we look at the month of April, the kind of average daily option premium that we're seeing here, it is the highest in the last 8 months. In fact, when we compare it, the first 7 days of April to the entire month of March, it is an uptick of almost 60% on a month-on-month basis. And largely, this is being driven by crude, which the option premium out here saw an uptick of almost 111%. Look at the option premium on gold as well, up 79%. And natural gas, on the other hand, interestingly, saw a decline of nearly 18%. So given the kind of moves that we've seen, the daily option premium surging on MCX, resultantly the stock is trading higher today. As of now, the stock is at 5,200 thereabouts, an uptick of almost 4% Hormas.
Indeed, and it's good going for MCX. It's around 11% in the last 1 month, despite the volatility that we have seen over the last few trading sessions. But the other one that's doing well today, though, is Info Edge, and that's after a strong fourth quarter business update. And Rima is here with more on that. Rima.
Indeed. So the company in a pre-quarter update has said that billings for the company, billings are basically a precursor to revenue recognition. Billings in the fourth quarter have gone up by 19%, and this is the best that we've seen in the last couple of quarters. Remember, Info Edge gets a majority of its revenue, 70% of its revenues from Naukri, which again is highly indexed to IT hiring. IT hiring went through a tough time, slowed down, and things had just started to recover. So we saw IT billings increase from single digits in Q3 of FY24. So that's about 6 quarters back, now back to levels of about 19%. So that's a positive. The only thing is that, this is backward-looking data for January to March. Now, come April, we know the macro uncertainty. IT companies, could face headwinds, in the form of whether they're going to grow or not, if there are going to be, tech budgets. So will they hire or not? So once again, hiring could come under pressure on account of uncertainty, which will negatively impact Info Edge's growth going forward. So Q4 update is good, but again, it's backward-looking. Back to you.
Indeed, Rima, thanks a lot for that. But good going for Info Edge in today's session as well. We call time on this edition of Midcap Radar. We leave you with the Nifty still at 22,500, a slight cool off from the highs of the day. It's been a little choppy in the last few minutes. We fell, the dip was bought into, we surged to the day's high, and now we are cooling off a little. Remember, tomorrow is going to be the weekly options expiry for the index, considering the fact that Thursday is a market holiday. And of course, that's also the day when the reciprocal tariffs kick in, and B, TCS reports its results. From Vamakshimi and the team that put this show together, thank you so much for watching. MF Corner on the other side.